Every night, after the house fell quiet and the neighborhood lights dimmed, Shanti took out a small tin box from under her bed. Inside were a needle and thread, but she didn't sew clothes. She stitched shoes. Her son Ravi was 10 and growing faster than their small income. His school shoes were old and cracked, the soles thinning with every step he took. The front had split open just enough to show his toes, but Ravi never complained. Children who learn early that money is fragile also learn how to stay silent, but Shanti noticed everything. She saw how Ravi walked carefully to avoid puddles, how he dragged his feet instead of running with his friends. She noticed how he slipped his shoes off the moment he came home, before she could see the day's new damage. One evening, as Ravi washed his feet, Shanti picked up his shoes. She pressed the sole gently, and it gave way. Her heart sank. "Oma," Ravi said, trying to sound casual. "They're still fine." Shanti forced a smile. "Of course," she replied. "Now go finish your homework." That night, she waited until Ravi was asleep. In the dim kitchen, she sat by the window and began to stitch. The needle pierced rubber, fabric, and sometimes her own skin. She didn't flinch. Pain was a familiar companion. She stitched slowly, carefully, pulling the torn edges together so neatly that in the morning the shoes almost looked new. Shanti worked as a domestic helper in 3 different houses. She scrubbed floors and washed dishes until her back ached constantly. Ravi's father had died in a factory accident years ago, and since then Shanti had learned to stretch everything: money, food, and hope. She could stretch shoes, too. The next morning, Ravi slipped his feet into them and paused. "They look better," he said, surprised. Shanti knelt and tied his laces. "Shoes don't break if you take care of them," she said gently. At school, Ravi kept his feet hidden under his desk. During playtime, he told his friends he had a stomachache. He didn't want anyone to see the stitches. He didn't want his mother to feel embarrassed. Children protect their parents in quiet ways too. The stitches held for a few weeks, but then, one afternoon, Ravi came home limping. "What happened?" Shanti asked, alarmed. "Nothing," he said quickly, "just tired." That night, she examined the shoes again. The sole had cracked completely this time. She stared at them for a long time, knowing she couldn't fix them again. Still, she took out the needle. Her fingers trembled, not from weakness, but from fear. Fear of the question Ravi would never ask, "Amma, can I get new shoes?" because she didn't have an answer. As she stitched, Ravi woke up and stood silently in the doorway. He watched his mother bent over his shoes, her eyes strained in the poor light, her hands rough, with little dots of blood on her fingertips. "Amma," he whispered. She looked up, startled. "You don't have to do this," he said, his voice soft. Shanti managed a small smile. "Go back to sleep, Ravi. They're just shoes," he insisted, his voice breaking. "I can manage." Shanti shook her head firmly. "No," she said. "You should never have to manage without dignity." The next day, Shanti took an extra job cleaning a wedding hall. She worked until her legs shook. She skipped meals and ignored the shooting pain in her wrists. 2 weeks later, she walked Ravi to a small shoe shop. "For my son," she told the shopkeeper. Ravi froze. "Amma," she placed his old stitched-up shoes on the counter. The shopkeeper glanced at them, then at her. "How old?" he asked. Older than his silence, she replied quietly. Ravi tried on the new shoes. They fit perfectly. As they walked home, he looked down at his feet, then at his mother's own worn-out sandals. "Oma," he started, "your slippers." Shanti just laughed lightly. "Mine are fine." That night, she didn't stitch shoes. She stitched something else. Years later, Ravi would remember many things from his childhood: the small house, the thin meals, the long walks. But most of all, he would remember his mother bent over a pair of broken shoes, choosing pain so he wouldn't have to ask. Because a mother's love is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It hides in needles and thread, in stitched soles and silent sacrifices, doing everything possible so a child never feels poor, even when they are. Thank you for watching.